Hey guys, what's up? This is Francisco with Valareso Capital. And today we're going to do the weekly watch list for the week of April 25th. And the reason that I didn't do a watch list on over the weekend was because it was a little bit uncertain. I was a little bit uncertain about the movement of the market. I didn't have any setups to show you. So after today's bounce, I think that we're going to get some shorting opportunities if we get a little bit more of a bounce coming into resistance. And I think that the market might offer some shorting opportunities with a nice reward to risk ratio. So those are the opportunities that I'm going to share with you guys right now. And remember that this is based solely on my opinion and is not financial advice. So now that we got that out of the way, let's take a look at the SPY right here in my charts. And as you can see, right, the SPY got rejected at that 200 daily moving average. And for you guys that have not been following me, the indicators that I have on my screen, I have the MOXIE indicator developed by TJ Watkins. I have the squeeze indicator, and then I have the enhanced volume by Trader Lion. And on the right, I have the hourly chart. I have the 50 hourly moving average, which is the purple one. I have the 200 hourly moving average, which is the pink one. And then I have the MOXIE indicator, which is the hourly MOXIE. And then in my chart, I have the 200, which is the pink one. I have the 50 daily, which is the purple one. And then I have the 21 exponential, which is the blue one. And then I have the 8 exponential, which is the orange one in my charts. And then the lines that you see here are the quant pivot levels developed by John Carrett at simplertrading.com. And these are basically levels that the algorithms are looking for, and you can use them to find support and resistance levels on a weekly basis, monthly basis, daily basis, whatever the time frame you want. The ones that I have in my screen are the weekly ones, and the long ones here are the monthly ones. So now let's get into the charts, right? I have the SPY right here. And as you can see, right, the squeeze was pointing lower. The MOXIE indicator continues to trade below zero, which that means that there is negative energy in the SPY. And you can see that the hourly MOXIE continues to trend lower. And right now we're trading below zero. So any pushes back to the 50 hourly should be seen as an opportunity to short, as long as the MOXIE continues to trade below zero. And that's exactly what I'm going to be looking for. And if any of you guys are followers of the MOXIE indicator, you should know that this right here is called an inverse trampoline move, meaning that price should not be above the 50 hourly when the MOXIE indicator is below zero. And then of course we were above it and we got rejected pretty hard. So right now what I'm looking for, I'm looking actually for a bounce somewhere around this H2 quant pivot level, which is right somewhere around that 8 exponential moving average. And I will see that I'll be looking at that as an opportunity to short, and that's somewhere around 435 in the SPY. So now let me share with you guys the names that I have. I have 10 names that I want to share with you. And the first one right here is Alcoa Corporation, which is AA ticker, right? AA, the ticker symbol. And as you can see, right, we have earnings out of the way. And right now that the daily MOXIE is below zero, I think that any move to resistance is going to be a shorting opportunity. The level that I'm looking at is 72. And as you can see, the MOXIE indicator in the hourly is already below zero. And I'm looking for this level somewhere around 72 for an opportunity to short. And we are, of course, have a squeeze that is firing to the short side. And you can see the selling volume is pretty strong. So just trying to keep things simple. This is below all moving averages, and I just want and my plan is just to short resistance and look for a move all the way down to the 200 daily moving average in the daily chart. Now the next name that I have here is Adobe. And what I like about Adobe to the short side is that, first of all, Adobe continues to trend below a declining 50 daily moving average. That means that sellers are in control. We can see that we have a squeeze pointing to the downside. And of course, the hourly MOXIE is below zero. So I'm basically looking for Adobe to come all the way up here to that to that quant pivot H2 level, which is near that declining 21 exponential moving average, somewhere around 430, and that will be my opportunity to short. And then I'll be looking for Adobe to actually broke these lows and then continue lower, perhaps to this monthly quant pivot level down here. Now let's take a look at CLF. I notice that I'm not looking to short these names right now. If these names continue to move lower tomorrow, I will not short them, right? I'm looking for these names to move a little bit up, coming to resistance points, come to levels in which I can manage my risk, and then I will short them by keeping my risk pretty low. So that's basically what I'm watching here and what I'm showing to you. So now let's take a look at CLF. And this one, right, this one broke pretty hard. And this is something super interesting that I really like about the MOXY indicator. As you can see, a lot of people were talking about CLF, right, how it was flagging. This one was trading sideways, but you can see what the MOXY was doing, right? The MOXY was moving lower, during all this consolidation period. And then, of course, as soon as the MOXY breaks below zero, any move above that hourly 50 should be considered suspicious. And then, of course, this finally ended up broken down. And right now, the 50 hourly is crossing bearishly with the 200 hourly as well. So what is the game plan with this one? Pretty easy, right? We came all the way down here to the daily 50. We have a squeeze that is pointing lower. The daily MOXY is also rounding lower. And then I'm just looking for this to come somewhere around this H1 quant pivot of the weekly, somewhere around that 21 exponential moving average. And then I'll be looking to short those levels right there. And then I'll be looking for this to continue lower, perhaps all the way to the 200 daily in the chart. Now let's take a look at the next name. And I have DQ. This is a solar. This is a solar name. And this one, right, you can see it right here, right? This has been trading sideways. MOXY indicator started to come in a little bit. We have a squeeze that is pointing lower. And then, of course, the MOXY indicator continues to trend below zero. So I'm basically just looking for this to come somewhere around here, somewhere to that declining 21 exponential moving average, to come to that daily 50. And that will coincide with the 200 hourly and also the hourly 50. And then I will using those levels as a tight stop to short this. And then I will looking for a break lower and a continuation to the downside. That's the name for it. That's what I'm looking for, DQ. Now let's go with, I think I have NEM here, which is a gold name. And this is the perfect sample, right? As you can see here, you can see how the MOXY works here, right? You can see that this was moving higher, but what was the MOXY indicator doing? The MOXY indicator was actually moving sideways to lower, right? And then it ended up broken, and now you can see NEM that it starts to trend lower. And also you can see it on the daily, right? Price was moving higher, MOXY indicator was flat, and it actually was starting to roll over to the downside. So that's actually something pretty amazing. And this is an indicator that I incorporated into my trading just a couple of months ago, and I have found a lot of success using it. Especially, it helps me to keep myself away from charts that might not work to the upside. That's actually something pretty amazing about the indicator. And what is the setup in NEM? I'm basically looking for NEM to come up here, test the 50 again, which coincides with the weekly H2 level. And then, of course, the MOXY indicator is below zero. And I'll be looking for this squeeze to continue to trade lower, perhaps a move all the way down here to that monthly L2 level. Now let's take a look at Nvidia. And as you can see, most of these names are actually kind of the same, right? We've mostly, for all of them, we have MOXY indicators hourly that are below zero. That means that the energy is negative, and we should see continuation to the downside. And then here for Nvidia, I'm just looking for this to retest this breakout level to the downside, and that will be somewhere around that H2 quant pivot level. And I'm looking for Nvidia to test this level. And then, of course, the squeeze continues to point lower. The MOXY indicator is below zero. And then I'll be looking for a kind of a test of the hourly 50, and then a continuation to the downside. That's what I'm looking for Nvidia. Now let's take a look at the next name that I have here. I have Oxy, and Oxy was actually one of the best trades. It was actually the best trade that I had to the long side last week. And I'm right now I'm looking at Oxy as a short setup. As you can actually see it here. And what is something really amazing, right? You can see that Oxy tried to break out here on the hourly, but the MOX indicator was below zero, right? Price should not be above the 50 hourly when the MOX indicator is below zero. And what happened? Moxie got actually destroyed to the downside, and right now is finding support at that daily 50. However, the Moxie continues to be below zero. You can see the daily Moxie trending lower. We have a squeeze that it looks like it probably wants to trend lower. So what is the setup? The setup is just waiting for Oxy to come here, test that 21 exponential moving average, and I will use that as my entry point, and then I will look for some continuation lower before the earnings are announced. Now let's take a look at PANW. And PANW, kind of the same thing, right? And this is awesome, right? A lot of people were talking about PANW, PANW, which is Palo Alto, right? A lot of people were looking for this to break out to the upside, right? And look at this. Look at the hourly, right? The hourly, right? PNW was trading sideways, but what was the Moxie doing? The Moxie was trending lower. And then, of course, the Moxie finally broke out below zero. And as soon as the price was above that 50 hourly, it should not be there when the Moxie is below zero, right? And that's exactly what happened. And then price got rejected hard to the downside. And now we're finding some support at that 50 daily. However, the Moxie continues to be below zero. And I think that any move somewhere around here, somewhere around this level right here, which is the weekly 2, I think that will be a nice opportunity to short and then look for some continuation to the downside in Palo Alto. So that one's looking interesting. Now let's take a look. I have 2 more names here. I have Snow. As you can see, right, Snow, we kind of tested the lows, right? We kind of tested, it's actually a higher low, but what is actually this doing, right? You can see it here in the hourly, right? The hourly acted as resistance. Right now we're testing the hourly MOX indicator below zero. I think if Snow manages to climb all the way to this 21 exponential moving average, I think that will be an amazing opportunity to short it. However, if you want to short it here, you can also do it, and you can use these levels. You can use this high right here to manage your risk, and there's a high probability that Snow will just continue to trend to the downside as well. And then finally, I have Unity Software, right? And this is something pretty interesting as well. You can see that the Moxie was below zero, and the price was above that daily 50. And as we know in the Moxie rules, right, the price should not be above the 50 when the Moxie indicator is below zero. And then price, of course, got rejected. And what I'm looking right now is, right, the hourly is trading below zero. And I'm looking for Unity Software to test that 50 hourly as it did right here, which is somewhere around that 8 exponential moving average in the daily. And of course, we have a squeeze that is pointing to the downside. And then I'll be looking for Unity Software to break down and continue lower. So I do think that there's a lot of opportunities in the market, mostly to the downside. However, I think that if you short them right here where they are right now, there's a probability that you're going to get shaken out if we have more of a rally, of a counter trend rally. I think if you're patient and wait for the indexes to at least test their 8 exponential moving averages, or preferably their 21 exponential moving averages, we're going to get much better opportunities to short. And as you can see, I share with you 10 setups, which I consider to be really good short setups. But of course, we have to wait for optimal entry points in our short operations. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. I hope that this weekly watch list is helpful. And just remember to manage your risk, which is the most important aspect of trading. Keep your losses pretty small, and then let your winners run. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Take care, and I wish you the best of luck during this trading week. Peace.